So let's see the next process, direct and manage project work. This is the third process in project integration management knowledge area, and this is the first process in executing process group. So here in this process we are going to perform the work as defined in the project management plan and ensure project objectives are met. The key benefit of this process is it gives an overall management of the project activities and ensures the profitability of the project success, and the probability of project success is increased. So this process involves executing the planned project activities to complete the project deliverables and achieve project objectives. We allocate the resources and manage them throughout the project. So this process also includes interfacing among various technical and organizational functions. This is carried out by both the project manager and other project team members. During this process, we also manage the uh, changes. That means whenever there is a change request, so we handle them, we review the impact of the changes and implement the required changes through approval process and take corrective action, preventive action, or defect repair as appropriate. So during the this process, deliverables are produced as outputs, and as the work progresses, the work performance data is collected and communicated to different control processes for analysis. This data typically provides information about the completion status of deliverables and other appropriate details about the project performance. This work performance data is also used as an input for monitoring and controlling process group, and can also be used as a feedback into lessons learned to improve the performance of the future work packages. Let's look at the inputs for this process 4.3, direct and manage project work. The first input for this process is project management plan, which has been detailed out in 4.2, process 4.2 output. So 4.2 was develop project management plan. The output of the process was an artifact by name project management plan. So this is one of the key input for this process 4.3, direct and manage project work. The second input is project documents. So we need quite a number of project documents as input for this process, like change log, which will be discussed in process 4.6 outputs. The second document is lessons learned register, which will be described in process 4.4, the output of that process. The third document is milestone list, which will be described in process 6.2 and which is an output of that process. Project communications is again an output of the process 10.2, so which will be detailing in respective process descriptions. So these documents, basically change log, contains the status of all change requests. Lessons learned register are used to improve the performance of the project and to avoid repeat the mistakes or the errors. The register basically helps to identify the guidelines for to ensure the team actions are aligned. Milestone list shows the scheduled dates for specific milestones of the project. Project communication includes basically performance reports, deliverable status, and other information generated by the project. Apart from that, we also have some more documents which we need as an input, that is project schedule, which is an output from the process 6.5, requirements traceability matrix, an output of process 5.2, risk register, output of process 11.2, and a risk report, again output of process 11.2. So project schedule is basically includes a list of work activities, the respective durations, resources, and planned start and finish dates. Requirements traceability matrix is basically product requirements to the deliverables that satisfy them and help to focus on the final outcome of the outcome of the project. Risk register is basically provides information on potential threats and opportunities which may impact project execution. Risk report is information on overall project risk along with a summary information for a specific project risk. The third input for this process is approved change requests. This is basically an output of process 4.6, which will be detailed out in the respective process. So approved change requests are basically then outcome of the project integrated change control process. So here the change approved change requests include the all the requests which have been reviewed and approved for implementation by the project manager or the change control board, which will be knowing in detail in the respective process. So for time you can remember the input for this process 4.3 approved change request basically will have all the change requests reviewed and approved for implementation by the project manager or the change control board. So the approved change request may be a corrective action or a preventive action or a repairing a defect. So these approved change requests are scheduled and implemented by the project team and which can be applicable to any area of the project or project management plan. The approved change request can also modify the formally controlled project management plan components or project documents. So this is very important because when you see a project, a lot of things will keep on changing as we progress with the project activities. So under this process 4.3, when we are directing and managing project work, we should handle the change requests appropriately and the inputs from the approved change requests have to be considered while directing and managing the project work. Hence, it becomes an important input for the process. Then the next uh, input is enterprise environmental factors. Enterprise environmental factors, which becomes a part of input for this process 4.3 direct and manage project work, are organizational structure, culture, management practices, and sustainability. Infrastructure, that means all the existing facilities and capital equipments available with the enterprise level, and stakeholder risk thresholds. So basically, the agreed thresholds for the risk for various risks under the project. So that information should also be considered as an input for this process 4.3. So this we have also discussed in detail in the previous process 4.2. The next and the last input for the process 4.3 direct and manage project work is organizational process assets. So this is basically the process assets which can influence the process, or like organizational standard policies, process and procedures. So that means we should give attention to the organizational standard policies, process and procedures before we direct and manage the project work. Issue and defect management procedures as per set by the organization, defect controls and defect identification and resolution and action item tracking. So all these are to be considered for this process as an input. Then next we have issue and defect management databases, which has the historical data about the defect status and defect resolution. The next organization process asset is performance measurement database, which will help us to look into the how the measurement data should be captured and collected. Then change control and risk control procedures, if any. So at a apex level or the enterprise level, the organization would have defined the change control and risk control procedures, which we need to consider as an input for this process. And the last one, project information from previous projects. Basically, with respect to the project constraints, what are the information which can be helpful as part of lessons learned repository is also to be considered as an input for this process. To summarize on the inputs, so the inputs are project management plan, project documents like change log, lessons learned register, milestone list, project communications, project schedule, requirements traceability matrix, risk register, risk report. Then third input is approved change requests, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. So these are the inputs for the process 4.3 direct and manage project work. Please remember the process name and the process belongs to which knowledge area and the process group. So 4.3 relates to the fourth process under project integration management knowledge area, and it is the first process of executing process group. Let's look at the tools and techniques for this process 4.3 direct and manage project work. So the first tool and technique which can be leveraged to execute this process is expert judgment. So which again we have discussed in 4.1 where we have leveraged this tools and techniques. So same tool and technique we are going to leverage for this process also. So here what we are going to do is we take uh, the consultation from the experts, subject matter experts, to execute this process. So when we are considering the expertise or the SMEs for this process, we should ensure that the expertise individual or the group have the specialized knowledge with respect to the following topics. So the first one is technical knowledge on the industry and focus area of the project, which is the standard one. So the SME should have a domain expertise and also the technical knowledge of the industry. He should have cost and budget management skills. He should have awareness and right competence for legal and procurement activities. He should be clear with legislation and regulations applicable for the project activities and project outcomes, and also he should be well versed with organizational governance practices. So this is the first technique which can be leveraged for the process, executing the process activities. The second tool and technique which is prescribed by PMI for this process is Project Management Information System, PMIS in a short form. So this project management information system basically an IT software tool which basically can be leveraged for scheduling activities, work authorization workflows, configuration management, information collection and distribution systems, and also an interface among other automated systems available within the organization like knowledge management portals, or customer portals, HR portals, then LMS, billing, and so on and so forth. So this tool will help to ease out a lot of hard work which used to be done typically by manual computation and manual uh, collection of the information. So we can leverage the IT software tools for automated collection and reporting of KPIs of the system. The third input tools and techniques is meetings. So again, we have discussed earlier in 4.2. So these meetings are used to discuss and address any topics of importance of the project while executing the project or directing and managing the project work. So we should include appropriate attendees for the meeting, and also we should include the some of the stakeholders which are affected by the topics addressed in the meeting, and we should ensure the attendee has clear-cut roles defined to ensure he is participating actively. And these meetings can be of different varieties and which can be done at different phases of the project life cycle. So some of the meetings like kickoff meetings, technical review meetings, or if in an agile sprint meetings, sprint or iteration, both are synonyms. Planning, sprint planning, then daily scrum stand-up meetings, steering group meetings, any problem solving meetings, progress review meetings, and so on and so forth. So we can leverage these tools and techniques for executing the process 4.3, direct and manage project work. The outputs of this process 4.3, direct and manage project work, are deliverables, work performance data, issue log, change requests, project plan, project management plan updates, project documents updates, and organizational process assets updates. So we'll see one by one briefly and understand what are the characteristics of these outputs. The first one is deliverables. So as we know, project delivers a unique and a verifiable product, result, or capability to perform a service that is required to be produced to complete a process phase or a project. So the deliverables are the outcome of the project, and which can also include components of the project management plan. So deliverable need not be the project final deliverable. It could be a phase deliverable, or it could be a deliverable of a specific project management plan component. The change control should be applied once the first version of deliverable has been completed. So the control of the multiple versions of a deliverable, like a document or a software or a building block, has to be supported by configuration management tools and procedures. So basically, the output of this process should result in a deliverable, which can be either deliverable for a specific phase, or it could be a deliverable of the project, or it could be a deliverable of any of the project management plan component. The second output expected from this process is work performance data. So this is basically as we direct and manage the project work, we should also collect some of the data, or the way to collect the observations and measurements which has been defined earlier during the planning. So that means we need to collect the work performance data, which are derived from observations and measurements during the project work. And the data to be viewed as the raw data, or the lowest level of detail derived from the process. So this is not an analyzed or synthesized data. It is a raw data which is collected at the ground level of the execution point. And then this data has to be passed on to the controlling processes for further analysis and working. So some of the examples of work performance data might include how much work is completed, what are the key KPIs achieved at that point of time, what is the technical performance measures done, what is the actual start date, what is the actual finish date of the scheduled activities, any story points completed, again with respect to Agile and Scrum, and what is the status of deliverable. We have different statuses, either red, green, yellow, how it looks, schedule progress, whether we are on time, behind schedule, leading, lagging, okay, and number of change requests, how many change requests have been approved till this point, how many defects have been produced, so cost incurred, and what is actual durations consumed, and so on and so forth. So this data has to be collected and passed on. So we have to be very clear, this is raw data, we are just collecting and disseminating for the specific processes to do the further analysis and decision making. The next output from this process is issue log. So throughout the execution of the project manager faces problems, or there is always, it is not an ideal situation always. There will be gaps, there will be inconsistencies, and there will be conflicts, which repeatedly happens during the project execution or project work performance. So then, whenever we come across these problems or the inconsistencies and the conflicts, we take some action so that that will not impact the outcome of the project. So this issue log is a document where we capture all this information That means we record them and also we track them. So this issue log typically will have the following information, like what kind of issue was come across, or what kind of conflicts. So is the issue type, then who raised that issue and when as a team. So there will be multiple team members who will come across these challenges, and we are going to capture who has raised the issue and what is the timestamp for that when it was raised. Then a brief description about the issue. Then we can also set a priority uh, for each issue, so that priority information we should collect, and we have to assign this issue to one person to resolve that issue. So the assigned person for the issue, who has been assigned for that, and we also have to give a target for that person to resolve the issue. So the target resolution date, status, what is the status of that issue, and the final solution. So these are some of the parameters under which are the details which we can capture in the issue log. So this issue log will help the project manager to effectively track and manage the issues, and wherever it is required, which can be escalated and investigated and help them to resolve. So this issue log is created for the first time as an output of this process. So that means during project execution or project management, so the first time we are going to create the issue log, and this becomes an input for monitoring and control activities throughout the project lifecycle. So it is of more essential or more importance to have a robust issue log created during this process as an output, so that which becomes an effective tool for future processes during the project execution. The next output is change requests. So here, as we have already said, change request is basically a proposal to modify a document or a deliverable or a baseline. So whenever there are issues found, so we may have to take corrective actions. So that information is have to be developed and to be generated as an output through this process. The change requests cover the preventive and corrective actions to to reduce the negative impact on the overall project whenever there are issues or challenges. So the change requests are raised by the team members or the project manager himself, and whenever there is a change request, so it has to be processed through a review, and it has to be disposed of through integrated change control process, which we'll see in 4.6. But here we are going to capture all these change requests, both internal and external change requests. That means both from the team, project team, and also might be from the other stakeholders like customers or vendors, suppliers, the organizational management, sponsor, and so forth. And these change requests should include what are the corrective actions uh, taken, or preventive actions, or any defect repair, and the updates. That means this change request will have all the information about who has raised the change request raised, and what is the has it been reviewed and disposed of. So the disposition can be of three types: corrective action, preventive action, and defect repair. And we are going to update this information in the change requests log. Then the next output is project management plan updates. So as we had seen, project management plan is not a static document, which is a live document which keeps updating as we go through the project life cycle. So after this process, if required, we may have to uh, update some of the elements of the project management plan. So this also becomes one of the output. The next output is project documents updates. So the next output is project documents updates. We had seen in 4.2 where we developed the project management plan. Along with project management plan, we also develop or deliver many other plans and documents during the process 4.2 develop project management plan. So here we are going to update those documents also post the process direct and manage project work. So some of the documents could be like activity list, which we are going to discuss further in process 6.2. So this activity list is basically updated with additional and modified activities to be performed to complete the project work. That means this list keep on updating the based on the changes and based on the backlogs, or due to new requests, scope change, or because of the risks. So this activity list has to be updated while or while we are doing the directing and managing the project work. Then assumption log is the second project document which we are going to update, which we had seen in process 4.1. Assumption log was one of the output of process 4.1. So any new assumptions and constraints which could be of potential importance or which has got an impact on the project can be added into assumption log, and also we can update the status of the existing assumption constraints, and some of the assumptions would have also knocked it off from the list, so those things should also be updated. Lessons learned register, which we can see in 4.4. So any lessons learned which can improve the performance of the uh, project is recorded in this register, which will be updated. Requirements documents, which will be discussed in 5.2. So any new requirements identified or any changes to existing requirements are also updated in this document. Risk register and okay, risk register is done as part of 11.2 process 11.2. So here the new risks, anything if any are identified, and the existing risks will be updated during the process, and this will be followed through risk management process. And the last document which will be updated is stakeholder register. So any new stakeholders, or any changes in the existing stakeholders will be updated in this register. The last output of this process is organizational process asset updates. So again here we are going to update the organizational process assets as we had seen in the um, inputs of this process. So this completes the direct and manage project work process. So you can have a overview, bird's eye view of the inputs, outputs, and tools and technique of this process in the next slide.